Based on historical precedent and the nature of the North Korean regime, several scenarios could unfold after the death of Kim Jong-un. Successor from the Kim family. The most predictable scenario is that a successor from the Kim family would take over to ensure the continuation of the family's dynastic rule. Kim Jong-un's children, if of age and appropriately groomed for leadership, could potentially assume control. Alternatively, other family members like his sister, Kim Yo-jong, who has been visible in the regime's public appearances and is believed to have significant influence, could be a contender. Collective leadership. A group of elites from the ruling Workers' Party or military might form a collective leadership. This could be a transitional arrangement until a single leader emerges or becomes an enduring structure if it proves stable. Internal power struggle. Without a clear successor, there could be a power struggle among the elite, leading to potential instability. Factions within the military, the party, or even the Kim family could compete for dominance. Reforms and opening up. There's always the possibility, albeit less likely, that a new leadership could attempt to implement reforms, possibly leading to North Korea opening up more to the outside world. Intervention by external powers. If there's significant instability, it's conceivable that neighboring countries, especially China or South Korea, could try to influence the succession process or events in North Korea to protect their interests. China, for example, has a vested interest in ensuring stability in North Korea and preventing a potential influx of refugees across its border. Unification with South Korea. This is a long-term hope for many Koreans on both sides of the border, but it's a complex and challenging process. If North Korea were to experience significant instability after Kim Jong-un's death, discussions about reunification might gain traction. However, the conditions under which this happens would be crucial, with a wide array of issues to resolve, including political systems, military integration, economic disparities, and potential foreign influences like China and the US. It's important to note that North Korea is one of the most opaque countries in the world. Its inner workings, political dynamics, and the mindset of its leadership remain largely mysterious to outsiders. Predictions about its future, therefore, come with a significant degree of uncertainty. The fate of North Korea after the death of Kim Jong-un is of interest to many due to the implications it has for regional stability, nuclear proliferation, human rights, and global geopolitics. Here are some more in-depth considerations. Role of China. China is North Korea's largest trade partner and arguably its most influential ally. Beijing values stability in North Korea, fearing both a refugee crisis on its border and the possibility of a reunified Korea aligned with the US. If there's political chaos following Kim's death, China could play a pivotal role, not just diplomatically, but potentially with direct intervention, to ensure a pro-Beijing government in Pyongyang. Humanitarian concerns. Prolonged instability could lead to a humanitarian crisis, given North Korea's already precarious food security situation. International organizations, South Korea, and even China might have to mount significant relief operations. Nuclear weapons. One of the gravest concerns is the control and fate of North Korea's nuclear arsenal. Ensuring these weapons and related materials are secured is of utmost priority. This might even lead to multilateral talks or actions involving powers like China, the US, Russia, and South Korea. Information and propaganda. How the news of Kim's death is presented within North Korea will be significant. If there is an attempt to hide or downplay it, it might indicate uncertainties within the leadership about the succession process. Role of the United States. The US has long been concerned about North Korea's nuclear capabilities and human rights abuses. The stance of the US in the post-Kim scenario will depend on its geopolitical interests, concerns over nuclear weapons, alliance with South Korea, and its strategic competition with China. South Korean perspective. Beyond dreams of reunification, South Korea will be wary of instability in the north, given their shared border and the direct threat North Korea's military poses. The South Korean military and intelligence services will be on high alert, and there could be increased coordination with US forces stationed in the south. Potential for reform. There's always hope, albeit slim, that a new leadership or a transitional government might seek to reform North Korea's political and economic systems, leading the country to a path of more openness, engagement, and potential reconciliation with the global community. Given the secretive nature of the North Korean regime, external observers will rely heavily on satellite imagery, defector testimonies, and intelligence operations to get a clearer picture of the situation on the ground. As within a complex geopolitical scenario, predictions are challenging, and real-world events can often defy expectations. Let's delve deeper into some key considerations and potential dynamics that might shape the future of North Korea following the death of Kim Jong-un. Geopolitical implications. China-North Korea relations. China has been North Korea's closest ally since the Korean War. Their relationship is described by both countries as being as close as lips and teeth. However, it's not without tension. While China supports North Korea for strategic reasons, it's often frustrated with its unpredictable behavior, especially nuclear tests. After Kim Jong-un's death, China will prioritize a stable and friendly regime in Pyongyang. It may try to exert influence to ensure a smooth leadership transition and avoid any political vacuum that could be exploited by other powers. As North Korea relations. The US has long sought North Korea's denuclearization. Any leadership change offers both risks and opportunities for American diplomacy. The US might push for a diplomatic solution, engage in dialogue with the new leadership, and even promote reunification under certain conditions. It'll closely coordinate its moves with South Korea and Japan, its primary allies in the region. Russia's role. Although less influential than China, Russia is another key player. Moscow has shown interest in expanding economic ties with North Korea, especially in the context of its broader strategic competition with the US. After Kim Jong-un's death, Russia might seek to increase its influence in Pyongyang, providing an alternative to China and the West. Domestic considerations propaganda machine. The North Korean state's grip on information is unparalleled. Kim Jong-un's death would likely be presented in a manner that bolsters state narratives, emphasizing his contribution to the nation and ensuring that his successor or the ruling collective is perceived with similar reverence. Economic realities. Despite its political isolation, North Korea has shown some economic adaptability. Informal markets have grown under Kim Jong-un's regime, and the state has occasionally experimented with economic reforms. If the new leadership sees merit in these changes, there could be more significant economic openings, which would have ramifications for regional trade and investment. Military's role. The Korean People's Army (KPA) is one of the most influential institutions in North Korea. Its role in a post-Kim Jong-un scenario cannot be understated. The military could either back a successor, forming the backbone of the new regime, or play kingmaker in determining who takes power. There's also the risk of factions within the KPA competing for dominance, leading to internal strife. Reunification dreams and realities. The Korean War 1950 to 1953 ended in an armistice, not a peace treaty, meaning technically, the two Koreas are still at war. The dream of reunification has persisted for decades, but it's fraught with challenges. Economic disparities. The South's economy is vastly more developed than the North's. Reunification would require significant investment to integrate North Korea's outdated infrastructure and economy with the South. Cultural differences. Decades of separation have resulted in diverging cultural, societal, and even linguistic differences. While they share a common historical and cultural background, years of different experiences under divergent regimes would present challenges in merging the two societies. Political systems. The democratic system of the South contrasts sharply with the totalitarian regime of the North. Integrating the two would be a massive political endeavor. Conclusion. The eventual death of Kim Jong-un will undoubtedly mark a significant turning point in the history of the Korean Peninsula. The exact outcome is unpredictable, given the secretive nature of the North Korean regime and the multitude of internal and external actors with stakes in the country's future. However, understanding the myriad factors at play, from regional geopolitics to domestic dynamics, is essential for anticipating potential scenarios. The international community, especially neighboring countries, will be watching closely and may need to act swiftly to ensure that the transition does not lead to instability or conflict. The hope remains that whatever changes ensue, they ultimately lead to a better life for the North Korean people and lasting peace on the peninsula.